Equals May 25, 1944. The air hung heavy over western Belgium. The Lys River glimmered under a pale sun, its calm waters masking the chaos that encroached from the east. Captain Henri Delvaux unfolded the crumpled dispatch. He and his company were to defend the Moorburg Canal crossing until relieved by the British retreating north. He glanced at his men, tired, mud-streaked faces, rifles slung over weary shoulders. "We hold here," he said quietly. In the distance, artillery rumbled like an approaching storm. Beyond the trees, the British convoys moved westward, engines humming in desperate haste. Delvaux understood the unspoken truth. No relief would come. The canal bridge was a choke point, a final barrier to slow the German advance, and they were the sacrifice to buy time.
Morning mist curled around the canal. The men took positions along the banks, sandbags piled high, Bren guns watching the eastern road. In the distance, the drone of aircraft swelled until Heinkel bombers pierced the clouds, releasing their cargo with shrill defiance. Explosions ripped the soil, hurling water and debris into the air. "Incoming! Down!" bellowed Sergeant Van Riel as fragments clattered off helmets. The men returned fire at scattered German scouts appearing on the far shore. Smoke mixed with the scent of oil and mud. Delvaux shouted orders, his voice nearly lost beneath artillery. Through gaps in the smoke, he glimpsed the dark silhouettes of German armor forming beyond the trees. The storm had reached them. The canal crossing was now a front line, and the Belgian Rearguard would stand alone.
By noon, the canal echoed with gunfire. German infantry pushed forward behind tanks, the roar of Maschinengewehr joining the song of chaos. Delvaux's men, though outnumbered, fought with steady precision. Every burst from a Belgian machine gun found its mark across the water. Private Lefebvre, crouched behind rubble, whispered, "They keep coming, Captain." Delvaux nodded grimly. "Then we keep firing." The air shimmered with heat and smoke, leaves reduced to ash above their trenches. Yet in that cacophony there was strange unity, a fellowship born of shared defiance. As ammunition dwindled and the canal churned with shrapnel, the thought of surrender never came. Somewhere, Delvaux knew the British were still moving toward Dunkirk. Every minute held here might mean 100 more saved beyond the horizon.
By evening, the bridge blazed, its wooden planks smoldering from direct hits. Delvaux ordered the engineers to prepare charges. "We'll not leave them a crossing," he said through the smoke. Flames painted his face red as dusk fell over the fields. The men hauled wounded comrades back from the canal, dragging them to a small farmhouse that now served as a makeshift dressing post. Shells whined overhead. A young medic, his hands trembling, looked to Delvaux. "Captain, what if they reach the bridge before us?" Delvaux replied softly, "Then we'll light it ourselves." As night descended, the Germans renewed their attack. Rifles flashed like lightning over black water. Against the inferno's glow, the Belgians prepared to seal their fate in fire and steel. The night was alive with sound, distant artillery, whispers of men reloading, the soft moan of wounded lying among reeds. Delvaux crouched beside the bridge, timer in hand, counting heartbeats. A flare rose, revealing silhouettes across the canal, German infantry wading through smoke and mist. The captain pressed the detonator. A white flash split the heavens, followed by an explosion that cracked the earth. The bridge shattered, fiery splinters raining down. For a moment silence fell, then cheers rose from the Belgian line. But triumph was short-lived. The enemy regrouped on the far side, bringing heavy guns to bear. Night became an endless contest of endurance, each burst of fire tracing tragic arcs against the stars. Delvaux knew dawn would bring no respite.
At first light, Delvaux scribbled a dispatch for the British command. Canal crossing destroyed, holding position, heavy casualties, buying time. He handed the note to Lieutenant Fraser, a British liaison officer stranded with them. "If you reach Dunkirk, tell them we did as ordered," Delvaux said. Fraser nodded, his face hollow from sleepless nights. The lieutenant left under covering fire, disappearing down a smoke-shrouded road. Delvaux turned back to the ruins of the bridge, the symbol of everything they had sacrificed. The horizon glowed faintly with the fires of war, the promise of an army retreating towards survival. For the Belgians, there would be no evacuation, only duty fulfilled in silence. Every heartbeat of their stand carried westward through the chaos. By afternoon, shells tore into the Belgian trenches. Stone and soil erupted in geysers. Delvaux's men, reduced to half their number, fought on with grim determination. Private Lefevre was hit, his rifle slipping from bloodied hands. "Hold fast," Delvaux urged, kneeling beside him. "You've done Belgium proud." The line wavered as German troops crossed shallow points upriver. Machine guns overheated, ammunition ran low. The sound of tank treads approached like iron thunder. Still, not a man left his post. Through the haze, Delvaux saw a flag, Belgian colors fluttering defiantly atop a shattered wall. Even in ruin, it stood straight. The captain drew his pistol and rejoined the fight, every shot an oath that their sacrifice would not be forgotten.
Evening fell with the sound of retreating gunfire and cries fading into distance. The Belgian line had shattered. Delvaux crawled through the wreckage of their position, finding only silence and flame. He radioed once more but received no reply. Headquarters gone silent under bombardment. The captain stood over the canal, its water blackened with ash. He thought of his family in Brussels, of promises unfulfilled. "It's done," whispered Van Riel beside him, his uniform singed, eyes hollow. "We've done all we could." Delvaux nodded. The bridge, the men, even the sunrise, all gone to memory. Around them the German columns rolled onward toward Dunkirk, but in their wake lay the stubborn memory of those who refused to yield.
The next morning, German patrols swept the ruins. Delvaux and a handful of survivors were rounded up, their weapons kicked aside. The silence was more suffocating than the battle. A German officer, young and immaculate, looked at the Belgian captain and simply said, "Bravely done." Delvaux said nothing. His thoughts drifted to the canal, now calm once more, hiding the scars beneath its mirror surface. As they were marched away, he heard distant thunder, the sound of aircraft and gunfire from the coast. Dunkirk. Perhaps their stand had meant something after all. The men straightened their shoulders, no longer soldiers of a standing army, but of memory. Proof that Belgium had resisted to the very end.
Years later, survivors returned to the canal bridge, rebuilt and silent beneath new clouds. Villagers spoke in hushed tones about the stand of Captain Delvaux's company, how their defiance gave the British precious time to reach Dunkirk's beaches. Children played where once artillery fell. The wind carried no smoke now, only the murmur of history and the rush of the river. A plaque bore their names engraved in bronze. They held so others might live. In that quiet, the echoes of 1940 lingered, not just of loss, but of courage immortalized in still waters. The Belgian Rearguard had fought for a moment that changed the course of countless others, their sacrifice rippling outward like the canal itself, calm again after the storm.